talk nutrition to me with Kelly Springer. Kelly, it's so fun when we batch these episodes together and do all these recordings, talking to so many amazing people, but we're down the road to our final interview and your voice keeps getting better.
I'm so glad. I'm glad. I'm drinking my tea. I'm trying to do all the things, getting in some water. But I'm just excited to announce our guest today. So we have Michael Aguas with us, a seasoned leader of nearly 30 years of experience building teams of financial advisors across major financial firms. Michael's expertise lies in helping tax and accounting professionals uncover overlooked sections of the tax code that can significantly reduce taxes and minimize risk for business owners. But today, we're going to talk to Michael about something a little bit different in the way of health and wellness and how he was able to recover from having lung cancer. So Michael, welcome to the show. And
good morning.
To talk with you.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Michael, how did this start? Give us the story of specifically enough when you thought something was wrong and oh no.
It was about this time last year that my father was in his final weeks. He was 89 years old, Southern California. I live here in New York. So I flew across country. And while there, I developed a cough that just would not stop, weeks. And I thought it was the beginning of bronchitis. And long story short, father passes in late December, just before his 90th birthday. In January, I'm coughing even more, in spite of having visited the doctors. Doctors like, you should get an x-ray. An x-ray shows you have pneumonia. By the way, you should see a pulmonologist. I see a pulmonologist. He does what is called a thoracentesis. Basically sticks a needle in my back, drains the fluid from my left lung. They look at the fluid. Michael, we see suspicious cells. It looks like cancer. But we're going to do one more test. They do a bronchoscopy. And Friday night, March 7th, I get the phone call and you have stage 4 lung cancer. And I'm standing there literally shaking and thinking, I don't smoke. I'm not around smokers. I spent since 13 years old, I've found different ways to work out and compete. All I do is compete and play. I think I'm in pretty decent shape. Stage 4 lung cancer, all you need is a pair of lungs. So they basically plan out a chemo strategy for me, 4 sessions, 3 weeks apart, beginning in April. It ended in July 3rd. I was very, very fortunate because none of those sessions had any side effects on me. I was never laid up for days. And I say this with gratitude, not like, oh yeah, whatever. No, I was never laid up for days. I never had the vomiting, the headaches, swellings, nothing like that. The thing that I dealt with was I've lost a lot of weight. I'm still 30 pounds lighter than before and a lot of energy, but I'm functioning. Neil will tell you, he and I have been working regularly since August, and I have no shortage of energy to do what I need to do in the day. And that's because I did certain things, and I'll just leave it at that until you ask me questions, beyond the chemo that I thought would really help along the way. So that's where you find me. So here today, this morning I got up, no alarm. I got up at 6:30, got my workout in, got my devotions in. Then I took, the morning bath that I'll talk about a little later on. It's an oxygen bath. And then I started working. So I have energy, right? And it's what I'm just rebuilding my strength and my stamina now. So I'm very, very fortunate. I am a walking miracle. I'm very grateful for that every day.
Powerful stuff. Kelly, any questions so far?
Sorry, I'm in my coughing attack right now.
Oh, okay.
Michael,
Go ahead.
You can ask some questions. That'd be great.
All right, fantastic. So, Michael, through the journey that you've been going through in the process, once you figured it out, you said you have this mindset, once you got the diagnosis, that you were not going to take no for an answer having stage 4 lung cancer. You said, no, I can't do this.
Thank you. There is something that survivors have in common, and you're basically putting your finger right on it. You have to have an attitude that you're going to make it. It's got to be positive. You've got to have hope. For me, my foundation has always been my Christian faith, and it's always served me well. And I believe that's a big reason why I am here today sharing with you guys. But the other side is you minimize the stress in your life. So I was being told by good friends with great intentions, Michael, slow down on the work because that stress won't help you. I'm like, you don't understand. I'll have stress if I don't work. Work relaxes me. I love what I do.
Right.
So if you take that away, then the stress will build. But yes, Neil, the attitude is a huge part on the road to recovery.
You're right. And that road to the recovery is huge because without being able to have a plan in place, and this is what you've done always. So once you figured it out, you knew you're going to have to go through chemo radiation. You
Yes.
could share about that. And you knew this was going to be really tough on your body. That's when you went and reached out to people to say, I got to figure out ways that I can continue to work and go through this and beat this.
Yes. So, the normal mindset is really like, why did this happen to me? I wonder how bad it has been. So you start looking at people who never made it. And then you start wallowing in some sort of self-despair, like, I don't deserve this. I didn't ask, I deliberately went down a different road. And here's the road. One, I'm going to commit to what can I learn to get through this? And the other question is, and that's for a different podcast, but the other question is, how can I honor God while I'm dealing with this? Okay. That's kind of where my mind went. So I started researching. And when I started researching, I focused on those who were terminally ill, who were stage 4 and made it and are alive years later. And then from what their regimen was on improving, I took what I could use with, I believe that offered little to no side effects. And I implemented that. And it's served me well. It absolutely served me well.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely has. So let's talk about some of these. How did you deal with the radiation? Talk about specifically your game plan, and also nutritionally, what you had to do through that process of being very tired and going through that once you found these experts to surround yourself with.
So one of the things I learned, and these are basic facts, right? Oxygen is the enemy to cancer. We become prone to cancer because we are hypoxic. We don't have enough oxygen in our cells. And so I start researching and I run into this doctor, Dr. Robert Lyons, and he specializes in getting large amounts of oxygen in your body specifically to combat cancer and other diseases, but cancer is where he's made his name. His own daughter was terminal. She had pancreatic cancer and she was 19 at the time. He put her through this. And this was this was 10 years after he came up with the technology, but he put her through this oxygen regimen where there's a special tub, there's a special water. So you and I drink water, H2O. The water that he has, because of the machine that he created, makes that water HO 128, a lot of oxygen. So when you're drinking that, you're filling your body with oxygen. Also, he created a bathtub that converts water into basically an oxygen bath. And I take that 3 times a day, 14 days on, 10 days off, and then continuing in that cycle. What's the downside of bathing? What's the downside of oxygen? Unless you can literally have oxygen poisoning, but you'd have to have a whole lot of these baths. And that's, we space those far apart in each day.
Explain the oxygen bath. What heat do you warm up to when you get in that bath?
It's literally 98.8 degrees.
Ooh.
It's 50 minutes at a time, but it's so comfortable. It's just relaxing. You're just sitting in a bed. There's no bubbles or anything like that. So I have videos next to me. I watch YouTube, whatever it is, but it's 50 minutes and, I try to relax and somehow be productive through it. I'm not doing phone calls, but I'm learning through watching YouTube videos, for example. Again, 3 times a day, that's almost 3 hours of baths a day, 14 straight days, 10 days off. And that's the cycle I've been on since.
So do you go to a place to do it, or do you do it at home?
I invested in the tub. It's quite expensive, but there are a growing number of spas all around the country. The problem I had is the closest spa to me is minimum 2.5 hours away into the traffic of New York City. And I knew that either I would have to stay there for long periods of time because I couldn't do it daily. And remember, I don't necessarily have people who can drive me back and forth every day. So the mindset was either I'm going to get an Airbnb and stay there for 2 weeks at a time, or I might as well bite the bullet and buy this tub. So I had it made and it was shipped from Hungary to my home. And I've been using it ever since.
Wow.
This is an amazing story, Kelly. Have you ever heard of this before? This type of bath?
No. And that's why I think that some of these treatments are really amazing.
So there are the people who own the spas. Many of them were terminally ill with cancer. And literally within weeks to months, these people are talking about baseball-sized tumors disappearing and they're jogging. And they were supposed to be terminal, and here they are alive, the doctor's daughter who was terminally ill at 19 is now in her late 30s with a family, playing pickleball, enjoying the Las Vegas heat, and also as an owner of a spa. And she is clean. She's been clean for a long time.
So do you think more of these will pop up that will have?
They're popping up. One of the things they're trying to do is not so much create more spas, although that's happening, especially in places like Florida. I believe the Tampa area is opening up a new spa, but they're popping up. They're in Las Vegas, Southern California. They're here in New York. They're in the Midwest, and they're continuing to open up as people see. Now, this is not being advertised as something that cures cancer. It's something that's advertising as something that just increases your lifestyle, improves your lifestyle, etc. Right? So you're not going to hear that part, but I could tell you that a lot of people have really been helped by this. And this is the main thing that I believe has helped me, in terms of what I can do outside of chemo. It's the main thing, but there were some others that I've taken. So ivermectin, fenbendazole was something else I took. And, this has been a point of controversy beginning, the COVID era, right? When Joe Rogan said ivermectin and people like that horse stuff. But I could tell you that it cleans you of parasites. Even though cancer is not a parasite, it cleans you out. It behaves like a parasite. And by taking that, I believe it's really helped also with the recovery and the minimizing of the side effects of chemo. Again, this is my hair. This was my hair during chemo. I'm very, very fortunate, right? I didn't have to grow my hair back. I didn't lose it. And after one of the treatments, I went to a baseball. So again, contrast that with a lot of what you're hearing out there. I believe this combination has served me very, very well.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're always learning. And I was talking to your son about new research and what's coming out, and there is new things all the time.
Yes. And these last 5 years in the world of cancer treatment have been monumental in that they've come up with new and great and and very promising solutions, right? So immunotherapy has come a long way. But again, you don't have to, you could take simple measures. Like, for example, another thing, alkaline. Oftentimes our bodies lean towards acid. The way we eat and the stuff we drink makes our body more acidic and more vulnerable. So I take an alkaline supplement, 1 ounce, 3 times a day. And in essence, it brings your body back to base, right? And again, disease cannot thrive in that condition. So these are things that very, very helpful.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Sure. And again,
Kelly,
look at the other side. What's the downside to these things? Water,
Right.
alkaline, there is no downside really.
Right.
So my question to Kelly regarding feeding. Now, let's go to Michael first. How difficult was it to feed yourself with stage 4 lung cancer at first?
At first, it wasn't, but the challenge and my current challenge is gaining weight, because I'm just going to be perfectly candid with you. I was never good at nutrition. And now like the way I was raised is like, you eat when it tastes good. If you can't taste it, it doesn't taste well, it's very difficult for me to eat. And that's kind of what I'm struggling with. It's a known fact that these treatments will kind of distort your taste buds. So right now, at best, I have no taste. So a fine steak is like grilled meat that has no taste in my mouth. There are a lot of meals that I feel like it tastes like I gargled Robitussin before I started eating. Like that taste.
Terrible.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's difficult for me to eat a full meal, even though I'm hungry and I want to eat more, but it's like,
It tastes good.
yeah. And so I've been eating fruit, cottage cheese. Those things have a taste. Things that are tardy, whey protein drinks, right? For breakfast. I'm just trying to put on weight right now without going to junk, really.
Yeah.
Not always succeeding, but
What tip would you offer on this, Kelly?
Foods that are high in fat, avocados, nuts, they have more calories per gram. So if you are getting in some of those fat sources, that can really help a lot. Adding in some olive oil into your protein shake, just ways to increase healthy fats, but that will help with the calories.
I love nuts. So yeah, these things sound well.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, that's a wild thing. So you can gain weight, Kelly, with introducing those healthy foods.
Absolutely. So carbohydrates and proteins are about 4 grams per calorie, or grams per calorie. And when we get into the fats, you go into 9. So they're a lot more dense in calories. And those foods also have great nutrition and antioxidants and everything that Michael's trying to get. So by adding in those good, healthy fats, you're getting in the good nutrition, but you're also getting in some calories.
Great information. Michael, for our listeners to know, Kelly introduced you so well. How can you help people today? I guess you can help them in many ways, but tell us about it.
On this topic?
If any topic, anything, not just
the most important thing for those who are struggling with cancer, there's hope. There's hope. There's absolutely hope. And, just know that there's a saying that goes, if there's a 1% chance, fight. That's my mindset. Okay. And what worked for me may work for you, but you will come up with your own. Your mind kind of brings you to where you think, right? So focus on solutions versus problem and fear. Okay. So on that end, yes. But on the other side, here we are. It's the beginning of November, and our particular specialty of the rainstorm group is mitigating, and sometimes eliminating large income tax for clients. And many of our clients come to us at this time of year. It's our busiest time, and we're still able to find solutions that fit them, right? We have multiple solutions, but we sit down with the client, get to know about them, and then come back with suggestions, and they choose some, or sometimes they say thanks, but no thanks.
All right. Well, fantastic, Michael. This is a great conversation. Really appreciate it. You can also learn more by just going ahead and DMing Michael or myself to schedule a call with Michael today, and go to kellyschoice.org and pick up the new weight loss era. Appreciate it, Kelly. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you,
All
Michael.
right.
Thank you
That
for having
was-
me, Kelly. Thank you, Neil.
That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Talk Nutrition to me, guys. Take